Hello everybody. Welcome back to Novel Idea. My name is Dia and today is a recent reads wrap up. Okay, so I didn't get a whole lot read this last week. As you know, we have had babies that have just gotten home and we've had some other little things going on, and so I just have not been able to sit down and do my videos the way that I would like to. So, and I also haven't been able to sit down to read as much. That is changing right now. But anyway, let's jump in and talk about what I have read so far in the month of November and what I am in the middle of, and then what I have to look forward to. All right, so the first book that I finished this week was a sort of memoir, I think. It's by Kate Bowler, who I love. She is so beautiful. Her spirit, the way that she speaks life into things, I just find so amazing. And she has been through quite a lot, and this is kind of the memoir of that. And I thought that it was really good. I know that as somebody who has chronic illness, I have days where I get very discouraged about stuff, and I would have, especially when I was really in the thick of the beginnings of it, I would have wanted a book like this that would have said, somebody is with you, you're not alone. And so I would have appreciated this book back then. I wish that I would have felt that there was, it's called No Cure for Being Human. Sorry if I didn't say that. No Cure for Being Human by Kate Bowler. And I just wish that it would have kind of taken a little bit more toward the, if you live, if you have life left after these diagnoses happen, is there a life really worth living? And that it's not just about everything becoming crisp and clear in the moment, but it's the elongation of that. This is really important because it is life. And so I wish that she would have taken it a little more positively than I felt that it was communicated. And it may just be where I am. I mean, maybe this is positive for somebody who is in the thick of it. But for me, I just didn't feel that it took it quite to the place where I wanted it to go. So I thoroughly enjoyed it still. She is a wonderful writer. She is a wonderful speaker. If you have a chance to listen to her podcast, I can't remember the name of it, but I will put it on the screen when I edit. But if you have a chance to listen to her podcast, she constantly has people on there that are going through struggles with either ongoing issues or had something that hit them like a ton of bricks at one point and how they survived that. She's very funny. She looks at life in just this gentle, buoyant kind of way. And so her podcast especially, I would encourage everybody to go listen to. Next one that I read was To the Green Angel Chair. And this is book 3 in the Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn series by Tad Williams. This was a behemoth to get through for me. I don't know why, because I've read books this long several times, But for some reason, 1,100 pages for me was just a little, I just felt like some of it could have been cut out. But nonetheless, I enjoyed his story overall. There were things about it that I would edit, but for the most part, this was just a beautiful, beautiful story. So it is about a young boy named Simon who grows up an orphan in a castle where the king who is ruling is supposed to be a good king and has kept peace in the land for Simon's whole lifetime. He has never known anything but peace. But that king dies, and his eldest son comes into power, and his eldest son is also being outwardly put upon by other men who have powers that are not for the benefit of the people, not for the benefit of the land, and definitely not for the benefit of the king. As people around him begin to disappear or begin to die, he runs away. And he meets people all along the way that become his band of brothers and sisters. They are very timely and put there seemingly randomly, and yet they have information about him and information about situations that are not known to anyone else. And so this band of brothers ends up connected to the younger son of the king, who is trying to overthrow the older brother, being led by his heart and the heart for the people. And he does not want the kingship, but it is something that he sees no other way around. So they go on quest to gather the sword of memory, the sword of thorn, and the sword of sorrow. And they gather these swords together in hopes that in bringing these things together, they can rid the kingdom of these evils that are besetting it. The adventures are very good. I just found them to be a little drawn out, and every time they set out to do something, I'd be like, okay, here we go again. It's going to be more of the same. They're going to do this, then this is going to happen, then they're going to have to do this, and they're going to have to get out of it, and they're going to have to find each other again, and blah, blah, blah. And it just got to be a little much. And so by the end of Green Angel Tower, I was just ready to have peace and be done. And I liked the way that Tad Williams wrapped it up. I thought it was wonderful. There were things that I wish wouldn't have happened that did. There are things that didn't happen that I wish would have. The middle book especially was something that there were several events that happened in the middle book that I was just like, I don't know if I want to go on. It is not a new favorite like I thought it was going to be by the end of the first book, but I am so happy that I read it. That is another series completed for 2022, and I am happy to give Green Angel Chair a B+. Then I decided to not continue with October Country, simply because I am joining in a group that hasn't begun yet, and it's not even actually a for sure thing that it's going to, but he's put it out there. And I can't remember the channel name, so I'm gonna put it on the screen also, but he's gonna start a short story group, and I thought that maybe some of the short stories from October Country might be part of this group, and I didn't want to read them now and then have to reread them so soon afterwards, and so I decided to set October Country aside since it was a reread already, and I will go back to it when and if I need to. And then I went on to read Hidden Places by Sarah Baxter, illustrated by Amy Grimes, and it's wonderful. It is wonderful. I'm not finished with it yet. I'm taking it just a little at a time because I just kind of like spending time in the places that she's speaking of. So I'm even finding myself going and looking things up on Google and looking at other books at the library that are about those places that really interest me, and so I'm just taking my time with it. So I'm in the middle of that one. I'm in the middle of Ghost Empire by Richard Fidler, which is a reread, but I am loving this reread. And it is literally a history of the beginning of the city of Constantinople all the way through to when it faded into nothingness. And yet it does not read like a history book. It's very much a story. It's almost like I'm walking through all of this with him and really having fun. I am also in the middle of, just began today, Ring of Bright Water. Shelley and I started our read along, our buddy read together, and we read 3 chapters this morning. Gavin Maxwell's writing is absolutely beautiful. And I think it took me, I think Shelley said it took her a little bit too to kind of warm up to the style of writing and to the words and the cadence. It's set in the Scottish Highlands, the West Scottish Highlands, and you know that there's that cadence to a Scottish dialect. And so just trying to get that cadence, and then once you get it, just feeling completely entranced, completely enchanted by his writing. And I told Shelley, if this was a fantasy novel, this man would be the best at world building. He has got me wishing I was in the middle of the West Scottish Highlands. So far, 3 chapters in, and I'm sold on Gavin Maxwell. I really like it. So doing that one tomorrow, I will begin The Bird and the Sword with Kelly from Kelly Reads a Lot. That's by Amy Harmon. And I really like Amy Harmon's writing. So that was one of the reasons why I felt good about the possibility of doing this with Kelly, because I have read several of Amy's books and I have enjoyed all of the ones that I've read. And I'm hopeful that this is going to be the same way. So that is coming up. And then when I finish Hidden Places, I think I might go on and read The Bee, A Natural History, and pick that one up. I like to have something kind of nature nonfiction that I am reading along with my historic nonfiction that I'm reading. So I will probably do something like that, where just like with Hidden Places, I can read it a little bit at a time, pick it up, put it down, pick it up, put it down, and it's not going to matter. It's very much almost a compendium of about bees. So that's everything, you guys. I hope that you have had a wonderful beginning to your November. I hope that you are reading some really great stuff. And we are headed to our kids' house tonight. We're gonna go see the twins now that they are home. But more importantly, we are going to be celebrating our oldest grandson's 3rd birthday. And we get to hang out with the twins and my son and his wife and her family is coming over, and then our JoJo. So very excited to be going over and hanging out with them, and maybe I'll try to get some footage of that to put into the video for next week. But thanks you guys for coming and joining me, and if you want to leave an emoji, you can leave a snowflake. We got our first really good snowfall this morning, and I pulled out one of my favorite sweaters because I had to wait till it snowed to get out my snowflake sweater. So anyway, thank you for coming and hanging out with me and listening to me ramble about these wonderful books. Like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you in the next video, everybody. Bye.